Today on Here for the Right Reasons, Gabby and Rachel reveal what caused their emotional breakdowns and if they really wanted to walk away from the show.
It's hard to navigate relationships and, it is messy. So I think people are going to see our real, raw emotions.
Plus, Jesse Palmer teases hometowns and if there will be more than one Bachelorette in the future.
I think it's a great question. I think it's totally possible. I think when a show's been on for 20 years, I think you have to constantly be trying to find ways to reinvent things. And I think the show's done an outstanding job of that over the years. And it will be interesting to see how Bachelor Nation responds to this. I can't wait.
And country star Ashley Cooke reveals what went down behind the scenes on Rachel's awkward date with Jordan.
We had this understanding that it was like a first date. We were going to serenade them in their first dance. So I think there was a moment of like, wait, so this is not how we intended it to be.
And Jed Wyatt engaged, Jesse Palmer gets hitched, and Nayte fuels dating rumors with Deandra. We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly senior editor Sarah Heron. Sarah, I am so happy to be back. The Bachelorette is in full force. I'm loving the season so far. I'm so sad that I missed the first recap with you though.
I know. What were your initial quick thoughts on the premiere? Did you like it? Or is this two Bachelor thing going to work? My theory is it's not going to work for them, but it's going to work for me.
I totally agree with you. It is about to get messy, and I am totally here for it. I do like Gabby and Rachel. You know that they want to stay friends so bad throughout this whole thing, and I wonder if they're going to be able to do it.
I know.
It's going to get messy, but I'm so excited. We have so much to break down from this week's episode. But before we get to all of that, let's talk about some news that's going on in Bachelor Nation this week, and this is getting a lot of people talking. So Deandra Canoe, she was on Bachelor season 24. She was seemingly put on the spot amid speculation that she's dating Nayte following his split from Michelle. So she caught up with Ivan Hall on his Instagram live recently, and he appeared to name drop Nayte when she asked him to describe her type. And he said, probably like Nayte or something. And she looked shocked and said, who? Well, after laughing, he said, I'm kidding. You like, how do I say this? Guys who are a little bit more swaggy, I feel like than me, like a pro athlete, you guys with a little bit more swag into fashion. So a lot of people have been seeing these two together. She attended his 28th birthday party. And in the photos, she was seen wearing his chain necklace. And that weekend was the same weekend that Michelle unfollowed or blocked Nayte, and several Bachelor accounts reporting on the party on the reporting on the party on Instagram. And they were also seen in a recent video together. So I don't know.
I mean, for me, I think the biggest sign is the Michelle unfollow/block, not only of Nayte, but of I saw a message she sent to a Bachelorette account that I guess had supported Michelle and Nayte that she followed. And she responded to them I'm not unfollowing you because of anything you did. I just don't want to see this, see anything about this. I'm taking a step back.
Yeah.
And that account had been posting about this birthday party and all this speculation about Nayte and Deandra. So if there was nothing there, I don't think Michelle would unfollow this fan account. And then again, yes, this weekend, so second weekend in a row, they're not making out or anything, but they're sitting pretty close together on a couch. And again, if there was nothing to it, I feel like they would put an end to it. I think that Nayte, because he did make that whole long statement, I didn't cheat. There doesn't have to be a bad guy, whatever. So if he's now being painted kind of in this light again, I feel like he would speak up again and maybe not go out of his way to be seen with Deandra. I don't know. I feel like I don't think it's anything serious, but I definitely think they're exploring something, don't you?
They're not hiding it. Definitely not. No, they're, she went to his birthday party. They were seen, sitting together on the couch on this video. So yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't cheat on her, but maybe they were talking beforehand. It seems like they're pretty close, and this kind of came out of nowhere. I feel bad for Michelle. She's went through, she said that she's dealing with her heartbreak. She was blindsided by all of this. She really thought that the two of them were going to stay together for quite some time. She, kind of quit teaching, thinking that they were going to spend all this time together, that he was going to move. They were going to move in together, and then she kind of gets the rug pulled out from under her. So I feel bad.
Yeah, and it's just not the best look, I'm not saying he can't date someone in Bachelor Nation, and who are we to say if it's too soon, not too soon, whatever.
Right.
But I don't think it's a good look, and I don't think that it ever works out. We see Bachelor people rebound with other Bachelor people all the time, Kody and John. And it just isn't a thing that usually works, and it just creates more attention and speculative. And maybe they're just friends and they're just flirting, and to each their own. But I think, again, they had friends there all Instagram storying. And I'm not saying you should tell your friends, put your phone down, but I also just feel like it's just not a good look. And especially for someone like Nayte, who clearly takes it personally when people are assuming he's at fault, or the way he was edited on the show, which wasn't in a great light, because he's clapped back at it before. So it's not like he doesn't care.
Yeah. Were we right about Nayte? Well, I mean, we said it from the beginning that we weren't really like feeling him. So maybe he's finally proving us right.
Maybe. Oh boy. I want everyone to tell us what they think. So we're not the only ones.
So we're not the bad guys.
Yes.
Well, speaking of bad guys, one of Bachelor Nation's biggest villain got engaged, right?
That's right. Jed Wyatt, formerly almost Mr. Hannah Brown, has found his match and girlfriend Ellen Decker and has taken the next step after nearly 3 years of dating. He wrote on Instagram, "Ellen, you are the greatest joy of my life. Getting to spend so much time with you has taught me so much. Above all, our ability to work through difficult situations has been very impressive. We never turn and run on each other. We face life head on and figure it out." The two of them,
Hannah Brown.
Yeah, I know. Well, both her Instagram caption was also very like the ups and the downs. And I'm not saying that like you shouldn't go through things, but I thought it was kind of weird that they both like harped on like the bad times in their posts. Whatever.
Shouldn't this be exciting and happy?
Yeah, it felt a little weird to me, but like I guess maybe who knows? Maybe they're going through things we obviously know nothing about.
Yeah.
They have been together since at least November 2019. That's when he confirmed it. He proposed on Friday, July 15th in Franklin, Tennessee. And Hannah Goodwin and Dylan were quick to congratulate him. So it turns out Jed does still have some friends at Bachelor Nation, and he's happy.
Very happy. Well, good for him. You know, he kind of has really been laying low since the show. We really don't. Well, he was supposed to give us that bombshell interview, and I think ABC put the kibosh on that one. So.
Oh, yes. He tried to like be like fighting back, and then he did too much talking for the actual talking.
Right, exactly. But glad he's happy. And who knows, maybe was it Hannah Brown's brother that's friends with him or sister?
No, Hannah Brown's brother is marrying his ex,
right?
Who he was dating when he was engaged to Hannah.
So very weird.
Haley Stevens, my favorite story in Bachelor Nation that I'm always constantly trying to ask people about when they're like, we don't want to talk about it.
I love it so much. Well, another wedding that happened was Jesse Palmer and his wife, Emily Fardo. They canceled their initial wedding because of COVID-19, but they finally said their I do's in France. And this was an absolutely beautiful wedding. This was 2 years later. He wrote on Instagram, everything was perfect. This was the day we had been envisioning for the past 3 years. Such a magical day full of love, tears. I maybe cried a lot and gratitude. So happy for them. I feel like we're seeing a little bit more of Jesse's personality this season a little bit, which I kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really done much because he doesn't know what's happening, and neither everyone's making it up as they go along, which I guess is the point of this new kind of season. Yeah. But he has been very funny. And of course, the ads from last week's episode was like, dump your boyfriend, join The Bachelor. And this week it was like, yeah, have that third glass of wine and fill out the application. So they're writing him sassier.
Yeah, I like that.
For sure. And I am very happy for him. His wife is beautiful and this wedding looks beautiful. Very Bachelor-esque.
Very Bachelorette. Well, let's keep talking about our Bachelor talk and I know you recently caught up with Jesse Palmer, who opened up about his time hosting this season and if we can expect more double Bachelorettes in the future. Take a look.
What about with hometowns? To fast forward a little bit, will we be seeing like 8 of them? Or how is that going to work?
There's like 17,000 hometowns potentially on this season because when you have so many guys and 2 different journeys toward finding love, yeah, anything's possible. A lot of miles accumulated. You need it was double work as the host, for the camera people, for crews. It was a lot to follow everything.
Well, do you think it's something that maybe would continue again in the future? I know we have to see how the audience reacts. I can't wait to see it. But is that a possibility to have double leads, 2 men, perhaps 2 women again down the line?
I think it's a great question. I think it's totally possible. I think when a show's been on for 20 years, I think you have to constantly be trying to find ways to reinvent things. And I think the show's done an outstanding job of that over the years. And it will be interesting to see how Bachelor Nation responds to this. I can't wait for it. I think they're going to love it. And so we'll see kind of where this leads down the road. Maybe, who knows, 2 Bachelors in the future.
I don't know. Would you want to see more double Bachelorettes in the future?
I mean, again, I'm not disliking the fact that it's creating organic drama. Mm-hmm. And we see that in this episode too, which I know we'll get into, but I do think it's going to cause a strain on I don't know, even in this one, we see Rachel kind of spiraling. It's tough on the leads. This is already kind of a no glory position that the leads get put in, which you kind of learn after. It's oh, of course I want the job. And then later they're that was emotionally draining. This is a whole nother layer of self-esteem and being compared. And it's just human nature. Mm-hmm. But as far as entertainment, I'm enjoying it. And I think they bounce off each other really well. I also think they would have to do it with two men if they're going to keep doing it with two women. And I don't know how that would go.
I don't know how that would go either, but you do make a good point that the drama definitely seems more organic this season so far. Like we're not forcing these guys to have, have fights and fighting for time and things like that. There's just no time for that to happen. Right. So I like that. I like that the drama is organic, but things will get intense this season though.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the drama, I did catch up with our Bachelorettes, Gabby and Rachel. And in that teaser, they both are like kind of threatening to walk away. The classic, I don't want to do this anymore. So I had to ask them what's going on there. And this is what they had to say.
And the voiceover also at the end of the teaser, it's kind of implying maybe a wanting to walk away moment. I'm a failure as a Bachelorette. Is there like either threatening to quit or just like an emotional breakdown you can tell me about?
We love the dramatics.
Yeah,
we're very emotional. So I think there just is so much struggle that goes into no matter like what season it is. It's hard to navigate relationships and, it is messy. So I think people are going to see our real raw emotions and be able to go through that journey with us.
Yeah, I think anyone who's been in our shoes has had a moment or two of, oh my gosh, can I do this? And Rachel and I are so genuine and real and raw that we just really wear emotions on our sleeves. So when we say that, it's what we are feeling in the moment, but we obviously always overcame.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, I mean, they're still doing promos together. So I guess, or promote interviews. So I guess they are still friends.
Yeah, I think that the friendship, I think, is safe unless there's something that goes down. Because I can't imagine them turning on each other. I mean, we see in this episode that immediately when something's happening, they want to go to the other one. And they really, I think they went into it with the state of mind of like, if a guy likes her and not me, like I can't blame it on her. Like, I think that's so interesting. And that's like a mindset.
Oh, totally. All right. Well, let's break down this week's episode. Kicking off, how you said they kind of go to each other with, the drama and the problems. And we kind of got this new villain in Chris. I mean, he didn't last very long, but talking about fantasy suites before, just episode 2 and, just getting way too far ahead of himself. But I thought they handled this really well and they mean business. They're like, if we're not feeling you, you are gone. That
was like the message of this episode. Like they are not wasting any time. And it's funny because the first night they kept everyone besides 3 people. And because they felt like they didn't talk to them and now they're getting to know them and they're like making cuts and I respect it. I feel like this is one of those classic things where I do think some of the things Chris was saying were messed up. I didn't like his ultimatum. And I know that's like a constant thing in Bachelor Nation and it makes sense. Like, listen, like, do you want your fiance to have slept with someone the day before? Of course not. But it's kind of the nature of the show. And I think one, if you feel that way, you have to tell them beforehand. Like Susie almost did, but then like she happened to have the third one. She probably should have brought that up the week before. So I didn't like the way he was talking about it and giving them ultimatums because it is their journey and he signed up for this show. Is it wrong to not want your fiance to sleep with someone else? No. And it's like, I'm kind of torn because it is way too early to talk about fantasy suites, but they were just like shooting the shit, like these guys. So I don't know. I think his tone and he was condescending and he wasn't apologetic and he apparently hadn't even spoken to Gabby once. So it seemed like he's just like not the right guy for them anyway. But I feel like it was also like, are you allowed to just talk about the show? Like, yes,
that's true. No, you make a good point. I mean, they are just kind of like shooting the shit and just having a conversation. And, this is how the show goes. And if that's how he feels early on, it's better to be upfront rather than just being, but he was a little cocky about the whole thing. And he was like, I'm going to get to the final 4. Well, no, you were sent home on episode 2. So I'm sure we'll see you in paradise, but not right now. But we did get our first one-on-one dates and I really like Gabby and Nayte together. I think that
they are similar energy. Like they both have that similar thing where they're like really giddy. And like they're even when they were talking like a serious conversation, like it turns silly. Like they reminded me of each other. Like he kind of feels like a male version of Gabby, even like their facial expressions. But obviously super interesting to hear about him being a single dad. And he's super cute. And I feel like that was a solid first one-on-one for Gabby.
Definitely. And we got our random hot tub in the middle of a field. So check that one off the list. So at least we got that. Then, you said before, this is kind of going to be like playing with the leads' minds a little bit. And you already see it happening to Rachel a little bit, thinking that the guys aren't really into her, kind of talking about Gabby a little bit more and, maybe not wanting to make that initial first move with her. And I could totally get that. Like, this is going to really mess with their heads if like she's into one guy and he's into Gabby. It's and vice versa. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I totally think. And I think Logan it's not gonna end well. Obviously we saw in this one, it was confusing to me because it seemed like he had a stronger connection with Gabby, and then Rachel kind of was like giving in. But then after that conversation, which we only saw part of between the two of them, Rachel ended up being the one to give him the rose.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Gabby relinquished Logan to Rachel, but I felt like going into that conversation, Gabby was more into Logan.
Right.
And Logan's one of the only ones who's like kissed both of them already. Like, it's kind of an interesting dynamic. And I feel like that's just a dangerous line to walk. And I can't imagine any of the ones who like did kind of explore both are really going to get far.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I, it's like almost like they're like kind of being polite to each other too, being like right now being like, no, you could take Logan. That's okay. I'll take this so-and-so. But I feel like that's going to get messy. And also I was thinking like, even on like the one-on-one dates with Jordan, she sent him home, but like, what if Gabby would have had a connection with him? Like, why is it okay to not keep him around for Gabby? I am confused about like the, the rules and things like that.
I wonder if, I think so too, because I also feel like when they showed Rachel talking to the producer, which they broke the fourth wall a little bit in this, when they showed us the cameras, like when Chris was leaving and they kind of talked about it being a show a little bit, like it was a little bit more fourth wall-y. And also they showed Rachel kind of crying to the producer, like about not having a connection with Jordan V. And I feel like she made a comment, like, I don't want to be the one to send him home. I wonder if like in that moment, like you send Gabby like a bat signal, like, okay, to send Jordan a V home. Like, are you going to be upset? Or like the fact that she picked him for one-on-one date meant like Gabby was always going to kind of back off anyway. Like, are they going to overlap in that sense? Like, they must be having so many conversations that we're not privy to. But I think the reason she sent him home was because she's comparing everyone to Tino.
Yes.
I know we didn't see him this week, but last week, like, I think she's putting everything on Tino, and then she's walking through that group date and none of them were giving her connections like Tino. She's walking through that one-on-one, and I think she's in her head, not only like, oh, they like Gabby, but like, okay, at least I have Tino. Like, I think she's all in on Tino.
All in on Tino. And you could see from night one, as soon as he like walked out of the limo, and as soon as they had the conversation, she was all about Tino from that moment. And even in the teasers, like you see her, it's like just Tino.
Yeah.
It's just making out with Tino. So I feel like we might have like a Jordan Rogers situation on our hands where we know that who she's going to end up with.
I think so too. And I think Gabby's going to be more the wild card, because I also think more of the guys, from what we see also in the teaser, of like some of them saying no to Rachel, which maybe they're just making it seem that way, like maybe are more interested in Gabby and she's going to have more to juggle. And my way too early prediction last week was that Rachel's engaged to Tino and Gabby's alone.
Yes. Oh, interesting. I could definitely see that. I could definitely.
There's nothing, and not to say that's good or bad for either of them. I just feel like Gabby's like a little older. She's more kind of going to be like a little bit more matter of fact and a little pickier. And I think Rachel's like head over heels with Tino. So I don't know. That's what my gut says. And it looks like Rachel's comforting Gabby a lot in the promo.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, they got to make it interesting. They got to like throw us off a little bit. So I don't know, but I could definitely see that. I can definitely see definitely Rachel with Tino 100%. Like that's, we can predict that. But going back to, that one-on-one, like we said, these girls mean business. If you're not feeling it, you're going home. But there was such an awkward moment, right?
Yes. Before we wrap up the episode, we do have to talk about that wild moment with country singers, Ashley Cooke and Brett Young, who performed to an empty auditorium after she sent Jordan V packing. Had to go straight to the source. And this is what Ashley Cooke had to say about performing to no one on The Bachelorette.
Was there any part of you that was like, oh no, like, are we not going to perform because there's no suitor here?
I think for a minute, I definitely thought that, just because I was like, wait, so, we had this understanding that it was like a first date and we were going to serenade them in their first dance. So I think there was a moment of like, wait, so this is not how we intended it to be. But again, I think it really was just a beautiful display of, bravery on her end too, to know like this is simply not right. Like, he's such a handsome guy. They really hit it off on that date, you could tell, but like something wasn't there, and that's really special. So yeah, I mean, there was definitely a moment, but I think it ended up being a really beautiful, cool, kind of unique way of performing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw you guys took a picture, so you got a chance to meet Rachel. Was she nice?
The sweetest human on the planet. She DM'd me last night being like, oh my gosh, like so great to meet you. And like just the kindest, most amazing human. So
a first for everything on so many, the season of many firsts.
Absolutely. You know what? Like it's an honor in itself to get to perform on the show, and it's made history.
It really has. It really has. All right. Well, let's check in with our Bachelor Nation member who caught our attention on social media. Mine went to Thomas and Becca because they are officially roomies. They have moved in together. They bought a new home together in San Diego. They moved in with their dogs and they seem to be really happy. I mean, who would have thought Becca and Tommy, here they are.
Certainly not I. Love that. Love that they're keeping us in the loop. They bought a house. They're living it up in San Diego. Cannot wait to see the wedding content from those two. Mine went to Susie, who again, more towards last week's episode, the Clayton slander, as I called it. Did not hold back. And Clayton and Susie kept on their promise that they made on Twitter to make a video to the Clayton Sucks choir. So this is their TikTok.
Remember, Clayton sucks,
I love it. At least they're in on the joke.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty like on Caitlin Bristol's podcast. Like Susie admitted she was annoyed. Clayton's like, I'm trying to laugh it off. I do think it kind of like perpetuates cyberbullying. But at the end of the day, I think they both know like we're happy. Like this was a stupid thing the show did. And like to get in on the fun is only going to help the content, you know?
Exactly. All right. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Here for the Right Reason. Sarah, who was on the podcast this week?
So you'll hear my full interview with Ashley Cooke and all things, what she's up to and filming The Bachelorette. And Emma Gray from the Love to See It podcast she used to do Here to Make Friends at Huffington Post is recapping with me.
Very cool. And we'd love to know what everybody thought about this week's episode in the comments below. Like I said, keep commenting, keep subscribing. And Sarah and I will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Hey everyone, I'm Christina Garibaldi, the host of Us Weekly Celebrity Coverage. Don't forget to hit subscribe for the latest celebrity news, tips, and video. And for much more content, make sure you head on over to usmagazine.com, the official home of Us Weekly magazine.